All right. So thanks everyone. I am Arseniy Zaostrovnykh, and the talk will just announce to you, so I can go on. I'm going to talk about this how C++ is getting more comprehensible, as well as comprehensive, but that's a point for another talk. With every standard, in this small time, I will only give you one example. That's gonna be yet another story to add on the Matt Godbold's great keynote yesterday about modernizing your code. So let's see how we could find Nemo 20 years ago when the movie went on the screen in the age of C98, C++98, sorry. By that time, it was in 2003, Nemo was just 6 years old. So today, Nemo would be, I'm just checking my math, about 34 years old. So how to tell if the fish that I reduced to just one integer is Nemo? We can just check the age. Pretty easy so far. And how do we find the fish in a bucket of fish? How do we find Nemo? Also pretty easy. I have even the transcription here. If you, for some reason, don't like to read code when you're listening to talks. So we run I from 0 to the amount of fish, incremented by 1. If the fish number I is Nemo, return true. If loop completes, return false. Looks pretty easy, but let's be more precise here. So here are 5 complexity metrics. Well, you see only 4. The 5th is here. So the first one, number of lines of code, is self-explanatory. Number of tokens is the amount of all the things of different colors in the implementation. Number of words in the English transcription. So here it's 29 words. And cognitive complexity, which is an interesting measure, was recently republished 3 years ago in 2019, and might be republished again to take into account the coroutines. So the idea is simple. You count the number of constructs that make you think when you read the code. Like if there is a branch, is it going to be taken or not? If there is, I guess this is not C++ version. So this is the C++ version. If there is a loop, you again take into account whether it iterates and how many times. And if there is an if inside the loop, you need to keep context. So you also account for nesting, etc. I encourage you to read it if you haven't seen it before. So in this case, it's just 3. You have the for loop, and then you have the if nested in the for loop. Finally, the grandma test. I read this English transcription, of course, not the code, to my grandma and judge her reaction. Well, I'm Russian, so I read it, the Russian transcription. But anyhow, the effect is the same. This code doesn't inspire much comprehension. So let's move to the C++ level. Before that, I need to shout out to C++ 98 still. It is an improvement over C, where you would also have to pass the amount of fish as a separate argument. But C++ makes it much simpler. Here, you can use the range loop. That's already neat. Still, so where is the slide for this? We get the same number of lines. The English transcription is shorter thanks to the range loop. It's just 16 words, fewer tokens. Cognitive complexity stays the same, again, loop and branch. And grandma starts to getting at the meaning of this. And unfortunately, at this point, the evolution of the language is complete with respect to this loop. There is no other construct added to C++ that would simplify this. But it doesn't stop there, because the library also improved. If we use the library, particularly the std any-of, we can reduce all this into just one line. Just call for the any-of, return whether any of the fish from beginning to the end is Nemo. So we get much less number of lines of code, less tokens, less words in the English transcription. Cognitive complexity goes to 0 because it's just one expression. And even grandma gets it very quickly. But it doesn't stop here. C++20 gives us ranges. So it's the same one line of code. Now we don't need to unknowingly repeat the fish and take the end and begin iterators. It's all implicit and it's all pretty obvious. So you get the same number of lines of code, fewer tokens, fewer words, again 0, and grandma just gets bored. So in the end, the complexity by all metrics decreases if we go along with the later and more modern standards. But there is a catch. It's not catch 22. It's a simple catch that all this code is actually C++, valid C++ 20, thanks to the backward compatibility. So to actually benefit from the standards, you need to simplify your code as you upgrade the standard. And you need to rewrite this kind of loops into something simpler. And luckily, you have tools, particularly other than Zoom. You have the SonarLint tool that has your back here. So I encourage you to check it out. For example, here it suggests exactly that, the rewriting the loop with the ranges library. And this is all I wanted to say. If you have some questions or just want to chat, I will be at the SonarSource booth tomorrow, I think, from noon to 2 in that Discord session. And Phil, you can take it away.